and welcome to Counterpressed on the Ringer and Spotify. I'm in the studio with Kate Longhurst and Jessy Parker-Humphreys. On today's show, we unpack England's 2-1 defeat to Copa America champions Brazil in Manchester. The homecoming bubble was burst. We also share some love for Jess Fishlock as she hangs up her boots for Wales after 166 caps. Kate, we got to start the show by mentioning it's going wrong for West Ham in all directions. I'm really sorry to say.
It's so hard at the moment. Even just looking at the lineups coming in, you're going, well, there's no hope. And then 3 minutes in, you're like, oh yeah, we're 1-0 down, brilliant.
I saw my friend on Saturday who is also an West Ham men's season ticket holder, and he said to me he fully thinks they're going down to the Championship. He was like, see you next season.
I've been predicting double relegation, men and women. Why not?
It's pretty bad.
We've got 4 points in between the men and the women in 15 games, 4 points between them. It's pretty...
Oh, 15! 4 points in 15 games
and
combined.
the men have all 4 points, obviously. But it's, even Burnley. I put the Burnley Wolves game on yesterday, and last minute they won, and I thought, we're doomed. Yeah. We are... it didn't help if Wolves get any points. They're the only team that are worse than us.
Yeah.
But, when that goal went in, I thought, Fulham are the next team.
And Burnley actually kind of scamming some results.
And they're looking all right.
I did look at the XG per 90 table, and Burnley are real rock bottom of that. So they're just kind of just about doing enough at the moment. But yeah, sorry, I felt like I had to start with that.
I've kind of had the whole weekend. I'm kind of glad it was Friday.
Yeah.
Because then by now I'd kind of got over it, and then you've just brought it back up.
Sorry.
So yeah.
Sorry, it's international break, so we got to
and
no
women's game this weekend.
Exactly, at least you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, it was just one loss this weekend.
Jessy, actually, your team lost as well.
I thought I was going to go away with that
one. So did my team.
Guys, Sunderland are good this season, okay?
And you were in Manchester for England's defeat to Brazil.
A little visit to the Etihad. Which...
Did you get some of the pick and mix that they do in the press room there?
I didn't get some of the pick and mix, but the spread was one of the most bizarre spreads I've ever had in a press box. And I don't mean this negatively. It was just like one dish of cuisine from every bit of the world.
Oh, it was like Jimmy's all-you-can-eat world buffet vibe.
Yeah, so I got like... They had like a large pigs in blanket, you know, where it's like a whole normal
like a big
sausage. Yeah.
Is it Christmas? What the hell?
Well, it was delicious. Then I got some like Cajun fries.
Nice.
And then I got some egg fried rice.
What is going on?
As you do. The token English person at the Chinese takeaway
with
egg fried
chips and with
chips.
Then I got a feta baked potato.
What is going on?
But I decided not to have the miso salmon.
No, the flavour combinations are going
crazy
all over the world.
But the food was all good. But I was just like...
At least there's a lot of choices.
Well, that's what I thought.
It's kind of giving, we need to clear out the cupboard.
It was, yeah. And I tell you what, nothing at half time.
Ooh.
Not about that. And I'd accidentally started a rumour, which someone else must have told me that was going to be pies.
Oh, so did you save yourself
disappointing?
for a half-time pie?
No.
Okay.
But I was excited. Like, I was gone for one.
Not even a biscuit or...
Just more pick and mix. But I didn't want pick and mix.
Yeah, I do. I like pick. I do. There's a time and a place for a pick and mix. I think it's a nice novelty in a press room to have a pick and mix.
Yeah, but it's a funny press room there, isn't it?
It's weird because the main area is kind of like a bar, like the stand-up
it is like
tables.
a bar. Yeah, podium tables.
It's not. It's actually not very kind of convenient if you're working, but. There you go.
Anyway, too much talking shop.
Anyway, no, people like the press room buffet chat. But let's get into actually what happened in Manchester, which was a game of football that England lost. We'll get into it after this. So England continued the chaos that surrounded them throughout the Euros into this new cycle. 2 international friendlies, one against Brazil, one against Australia on Tuesday. They lose the first one against Brazil on Saturday night. The homecoming series. Bit of a damp squib so far for this homecoming event. Jessy, we've got to prefix everything by saying tons of big names out for England in this window, as there were for Brazil, actually. Marta, Caroline, Dabina all missing for Brazil. But in terms of the absentees from England, Leah Williamson, Lauren Hemp, Lauren James, Hannah Hampton missed this, game because she was injured. Jess Park had to leave for concussion. Lotte Moy was ill. Grace Clinton had to drop out through injury. Katie Reid had to drop out through... I mean, they were literally dropping like flies. Have I missed anyone there? Might have done. Obviously, Millie Bright, retirement. So there were tons of exits, and we know that a few names were brought into the group to kind of freshen up and give some other players a chance to be in the camp. So we'll prefix all of this result by saying that. But all in all, it was still quite a stinky performance.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, it's hard with these things, right? Because obviously there's an element of these 4 games that I guess that they've got to the end of the year are a bit like, they're more like a party. It feels like they're a celebration or like a tour, you know, like they're sort of going all around the country with them. Obviously, they're in Derby tomorrow night, and then the game's in November at Southampton and Wembley. So I don't really know how much point there is reading into stuff. But that being said, I'm just like, I'm so exhausted with this team.
Okay, I've got a question. I was going to bring this up later, but I'm going to crack on with it now, and then we'll get back to the game. How do you feel about Sarina Wiegman's post-match interviews? Because obviously these are friendlies, right? But all throughout the Euros and basically since the 2023 World Cup, I feel like Sarina Wiegman doesn't acknowledge when performances are bad. It's all quite positive coated, even though she's quite direct. And then you juxtapose that with someone like Emma Hayes, who I don't know if anyone saw what her post-match after USA lost
Emma
to Portugal.
Hayes,
and she went in. Now, I'm not saying there's a better option, but sometimes I do get a bit frustrated with Sarina Wiegman when she doesn't acknowledge how poor England have been in games. Now, when you look at what Emma Hayes said about her team, it was quite brutal, right? So she was not happy with USA's 2-1 loss to Portugal. She said, we scored early and we stopped playing. If the under-23s were watching us, they would have basically asked what our principles of play were. We didn't press together. We didn't possess together. We were a yard off in our brain. Now, I would apply that same post-match to England's performance. But with Sarina Wiegman, I don't think you get enough acknowledgement of that. Now, at the end of the day, England are back-to-back European champions. And you look at...
The USA haven't done that.
That's true.
So true. European champions.
Suck on that, Emma.
You will never sing that. So, of course, Sarina Wiegman has the last laugh. But there were so many moments in that in that run to European victory where England were really poor and they got away with it and they got lucky. And yes, this wasn't a full-strength team, but it's frustrating to see those same patterns, those same issues emerge. The key things that you saw for me in this game straight away, Kate, was a lack of energy, a lack of urgency, a lack of physicality. They were kind of bullied off the ball in so many moments, but the key thing that frustrated me was just not getting to second balls. Brazil were first every single time, especially in that first half. And you've got some players, I think Esme Morgan and Jess Carter, coming off the back of really long seasons in NWSL as well as the international tournament. I think that's tough for them. But other players who are in the start of their season, just where's the energy? And I think that's what I find really frustrating watching this England team a lot at the moment.
I think it's one thing saying to the press and the media and outside people, this is what's going on, or it's not as bad as it seems. And then there's another thing when you go to the players saying, look, actually, we need to address this. This isn't good enough. I think when it comes down to physicality, I do think we looked unusually... I mean, it was almost reminding me of the France game when we started in the Euros, where France came out the traps. They were really aggressive, really on the front foot, looked like they wanted it a little bit more. And we almost couldn't match that physicality. And I don't know if it's because of the players that we're bringing in. The back four is a completely different back four than we've ever played. So you're going to have little moments of a bit of disjointedness throughout the team. But something didn't look right. But also, like, you've got to think the highs of coming off the Euros. Then for a lot of the players to go, right, we've got to go again in a almost meaningless game. I mean, it's okay, yeah, we're coming back to England and we're showcasing this and we're playing Brazil. And I'm not saying they're not motivated, because they will be. The natural competitiveness, I think you could see how feisty the game was. The players weren't not caring or not reacting, but it's hard to go again every single time when you've just come off such a high, and you've been celebrated, and rightly so, because a lot of people wrote them off during the Euros, but it's kind of hard to just keep going on that trajectory all the time. And that's kind of what I felt was missing a little bit of, like, it doesn't mean anything as much, and you've got players coming in, so maybe they're a little bit like, oh, I don't really know exactly what I'm doing here, or we just got off to a slow start, and then the game was sort of, once the sending off happened,
the red card kind of just...
you can't tell much from that game, so it would have been interesting to see how we reacted with 11, or how that game would have gone, because it could have gone one or two ways where we end up getting thrashed, or we could have actually found a way of getting back in, but it just kind of died after the first 25 minutes.
And credit to Brazil, I have to say, I'm excited for them ahead of this home World Cup, because they were really fun in the Olympics. Go and win the Copa America in the most chaotic, incredible fashion with Marta, and then huge result. And I love the way that they celebrated it, and like very vocal corner in the stadium of their fans. They were absolutely loving it, and they deserved it. Their game plan was kind of perfect, really, because especially once they got those early goals, because they could just sit in and invite England, and then as soon as England kind of gave away the ball, they knew that they could play really quickly and counter. So it was pretty perfect setup for them. I think I'm with you, Kate. There's natural disconnect that's going to happen when you've got so many key players out. You're playing this whole new back line, and you see the lack of chemistry that they have. Like the communication between Carter and Morgan just wasn't quite there. I always get frustrated with Esme Morgan's lack of physicality. Like she's a tall player, but she seems to just not win any headers, which I find really frustrating to watch. Obviously, there's all the Maya Letizia discourse. She started at right back. Lucy Bronze is still coming back to full fitness. Lucy Bronze does come on. That impacts the team straight away, gives them a lift. And then Letizia moves into centre-back, which was, a whole nother war moment. Jessy, I think what is frustrating is it almost is like we've got the worst of both worlds at the moment with this England team, is that we're at the start of a new cycle. We've got some younger players who are being invited in, but then some older players still being part of this team who aren't really clicking anyway. And I feel like we're stuck in this middle ground of trying new players as a result of injury, or trying new players ahead of a new cycle, but then also players who have been there a little bit longer still trying to make it work. And that, for me, is a worst of both worlds.
Yeah, because I think, actually, the defending was pretty stinky, to be honest, but I kind of don't mind that as much, because, one, there wasn't really many other options other than to play that back line. And I know the Maya Letizia right-back thing's become like a bit of a joke, but England don't have another player to play right-back. Yeah. And if Wiegman's decided that of all the defenders she has at disposal, Letizia is the best to play at right-back, I can understand why you are like, she is going to play right back and nothing else. Because if something happens to Lucy Bronze, who, is old, we know was carrying injuries last season, someone has to be ready to play that role. And she got caught for both goals, to be honest. And I think the thing that kind of annoyed me with the way she was playing, which I don't think it was necessarily her, I think it's what Wiegman wants from her fullbacks, is that she was playing like she was Lucy Bronze in terms of like wanting to get really high. Like if she's going to be your right back, I'd prefer for England to build up with like a free in possession and push, I guess it was Alex Greenwood in this example, like push her really high, but like equally Niamh Charles, if she can come into this England team, she's good at playing higher up the pitch. So I think that's something that could work, and I'm fine for that to be tried out. Hampton not being fit, kind of a blessing in disguise, because you need those some goalies to start getting caps in case anything's up with Hampton. Obviously amazing for Keane to become the first black woman to play in goal for England at the Etihad, obviously as a City player. So that element, fine. Walsh and Stanway, fine.
And we should
no
also
one's getting
say
past Walsh and Stanway in that
Keating
team.
wasn't responsible for any of those goals.
Really
like she had a decent game. Like she didn't have a lot to do outside of that. And the bonus of playing, also having the continuity of playing Keating when Hampton's not there, is she's probably the best with the ball at her feet out of any of those other goalkeepers, and that's what Wiegman
But Anna Morehouse
wants.
is tall.
But Anna Morehouse is tall, lest we not forget. And it was, I think, I also really enjoyed, I think it was a mixed zone interview with Keating after BBC did, where like it was just perfect like Mank moment, because she was like, I'm absolutely buzzing, like didn't even know, like it's crazy that it's taken so long for a black woman to play as goalkeeper, but like this amazing blah blah, which was really sweet, because I think she deserved her moment in front of her home crowd. Huge City girl, like that was brilliant. And it's a shame that England couldn't get a result, because like that should have been more of the focus for me, and that's what the homecoming series should be about, not this kind of, you know, sluggish start again, wake up, can we do a comeback? That can't be how England bail themselves out ahead of a new 2-year cycle for the World Cup. Like, it just can't go like that again.
But then I guess this is the thing, because you can have all these, like, explanations for the defence, but then it's like, when you're seeing, like, Beth Mead start, I'm like, I'm not being funny, like, if Beth Mead's starting for England in 2027, something's gone terribly, terribly wrong. And given that, like, obviously have her as part of the squad, it's fine, but, like, don't you want to, like, start trying some new different things? Because kind of as you're saying, like, these games don't matter. They're losing them anyway. So it's not, you know, if it was, like, if England were playing the same 11, or, you know, this, like, more trad 11, like they kind of were, like, from midfield up the pitch, and they were winning, I might be like, oh, you know, at some point you might want to start thinking about who's actually going to be part of this team in 2 years' time. But it's fine, it's homecoming. I'm like, when you look pretty dead in attack, like, and I know, you know, Mead won the penalty and she almost won another one and blah, blah, blah. But, like, I just kind of want to see, like, Aggie, I want to see me. Like, I thought Adjaman got the loudest cheer of any player when she came on the pitch. So
she
like,
was England's
if you're
saviour,
talking about
wasn't
as well, like playing into this homecoming thing, like people are probably going to be more excited to see her start than Beth.
I thought Kelly was poor as well.
Yeah, I thought Kelly was poor. And again, you know, Kelly is not a starter under Wiegman.
She's not a starter really full stop anyway.
Well, but like, you know, but we know she's not a starter under, and she does her role to perfection.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, she won't start. I find it hard to imagine she'll start at 2027, because we've seen in 2 cycles that Wiegman likes her off the bench, and she's really good at doing that. So again, like, you know, I know, and maybe this is where the injury thing come in, because you're like, well, if everyone's fit, maybe you've got Hemp on one side of the pitch and James on the other. But I do think you kind of want to start, you know, look at how many goals Aggie Jones has scored in the WSL this season. Like, don't you just want to see that player play a little bit more? And maybe we'll get it against Australia and, like...
But this is the thing with Wiegman, that's why I'm, you know, the worst of both worlds is the best phrase for me, because it's like she dips her toes into experimenting, but she won't fully just use it as a way to try new things. And I understand that it's about balance, and it's about a balanced experience as well. And maybe she felt like throwing in too many players with not enough caps who haven't played together, that would be totally just going a bit too mad for her. But then you end up with no real experimentation apart from the place where you need the biggest solidity, which is in the back line, which, okay, injuries have forced you to do that, but that is where the most disruption was. Aggie Jones comes on, is playing off the left, she was working hard and trying to play with Russo and Adjaman, and it wasn't quite clicking. But, you know, I would have started her off the right from the off.
But it's just like, if it doesn't click, I don't have a problem with that. It's just like, we can watch Chloe Kelly, Alessia Russo and Beth Mead play together every bloody week at Arsenal, and we've watched them play together at England for years and years at this point, which is fine. But I'm just like, okay, so I know what that's like. It normally looks pretty bad, to be honest. I would just like to see something else, even if it is, have Adjaman on the left, Beaver Jones on the right. Like, what the hell? Maybe they're both going to end up being number 9s. I feel like they probably are, but like at least it's something different.
But then you've got some genuine competition, haven't you? Because arguably Aggie Beaver Jones has been the best striker in the league so far this season, so she deserves the chance from the off. I think as well, we're not going to have too many opportunities where we play games that are not, there's nothing on them. So it becomes Nations League, it's World Cup qualifiers, it's all of that. These are 2 games where you could really just go, I'm going to have a look at these players. What are they like? If they don't perform, it's not about writing them off, but it's just actually giving them a taste as well from the start. Because it's, like you said with Chloe Kelly, it's so different starting and then being a sub and coming on as a sub, because your role is completely different. It's like, this is the state of the game. I've either got to protect what we've got or I've got to go and change something. Whereas when you're starting from the off, you've got to make an impression. You've got to do something. So for some of these young players, it'd be really nice to see them from the beginning.
Yeah, and the key with playing a team like Brazil is you have to be really disciplined with the ball, and I thought the midfield were really poor. They gave away the ball so easily, and probably what's concerning for Wiegman is that's actually the set midfield that we see start: Walsh, Stanway, Toon. Maybe if Clinton and Park were available, they would be playing. I thought it was a shame not to see Laura Blinkilde-Brown. She deserves a start based on the start to her season. She didn't come on at all in this game. Maybe we'll see her play against Australia. But that midfield looked tired. It looked like no one really had much energy.
And I guess this is kind of what Kate's saying about competition, right? Because, you know, as I say, Walsh and Stanway will, barring injury, that those two will start at the World Cup in 2027. Which is totally fine, but as a result, it's like, why would you care if you were them? You know, I mean, obviously, great night for Walsh getting to like captain and all that, but like, seriously, you're getting into like the intense bit of your club season. You know, you're going back to play league football, Champions League football. Like, that's where your priority is right now, and you know your England place is like fine. Like, I would way prefer to see someone like Laura Blinkilde-Brown, because it's like, well, she's going to want to show something in a way that, you know, it's just human nature that Walsh and Stanway don't feel. And like, I've got no problem with that as well. It's just a bit like, I'd prefer for England to get battered 4-0 and play with like a more interesting or younger team, because I just feel like those players would take something from it. I feel like you'd see a better energy, and like we would learn something new.
And also, it's less embarrassing. Now you look at that starting lineup and you think, well, that actually is pretty poor and embarrassing for a lot of those senior players to let a resultant performance like that happen. Whereas if you play a lot more experienced group and you say, oh, we tried and we made some mistakes and it's a learning curve. Whereas I just don't think you can say that sometimes with this group. And maybe this is going to be the cycle again of which, much like the England men's team, we watch these poor games and then they turn up at a major tournament and it all clicks and it all makes sense and they get through. So, fine.
I think originally as well, though, I would have been okay with, right, we're going to play what's perceived as our strongest lineup for the Brazil game, get a good result, and then we can experiment, so that when we come to it and it's like, oh, we beat Brazil, okay, it didn't work out so well, it almost gives you an excuse because you're changing the players. Whereas now, does it put pressure on Sarina? I'm not saying like a big pressure, but does it put a little bit more pressure on, well, she doesn't want to lose the 2 games because all of a sudden that looks really bad when we're at home, and, you know, so she's not known for experimenting that much anyway, but is she going to be less inclined now because she's like, well, actually, we need a good result?
Yeah, and England have got a history with Australia and stinky performances.
At least Leah Williamson isn't there to like fall over if Sam Kerr goes boo.
Well, yeah, who knows who will be playing as well. England can put things right on Tuesday night against Australia at Pride Park. So we'll see if that happens. That's enough England chat. Let's talk about a Welsh legend next. Okay, Jess Fishlock retiring for Wales after 166 caps, 38 years old. Amazingly, Fishlock finishes her international career having played in just over 2/3 of the 246 matches in the history of Wales's women's football team. That is pretty remarkable. Absurd. Incredible icon of Welsh sport, not just Welsh football. Very emotional goodbye for her. She's such a kind of charismatic, big personality and a leader in that team. But it was amazing, I think, to see that kind of vulnerability at the final whistle. She had a really emotional moment with her dad, and then in the post-match press conference, all her teammates came rushing in. So amazing goodbye for her, and probably Kate, a player who didn't want to give it up, but knows the start of a new cycle is a good opportunity. And I mean, talk about young players playing. Wales had a lot of kids playing in this game because tons of the players that were playing in the Euros were injured, and Fishlock wasn't the only player retiring. So, Rhian Wilkerson really had to chuck on some less experienced players. But you know that Jess Fishlock's a player who probably said, I've got another one in me. But actually, now is the right time to pass the torch. But what a player she's been for Wales.
Yeah, I mean, 38 to be playing international football and still being the main person really in your national team is crazy. And I don't think, obviously, what she did on the pitch in the previous however many years has been a huge thing. But I think also off the pitch, the way that you can see the Welsh players, how much respect they have for her. And I watched the last 20 minutes of that game because I thought, it'd be nice to see her send off and stuff. And, they were sort of saying that a lot of these players don't know a Welsh camp without her in it. And that's from the 16, 17-year-olds to the mid-30-year-olds. And when you think of Wales, you instantly think Jess Fishlock. So, yeah, an incredible career. I did wonder if the perfect time was after the Euros, because I thought, well, what a way to go out. You've played in the Euros. Scored.
Yeah.
And that's how you go out, and what a way to end. But actually, I think having a game pretty much specifically for her to then go out that way, I think is so much better when you can be appreciated, you can be celebrated. And the result didn't really matter, but it was still a competitive game against, a really good international team. So, I mean, the amount of respect that she has across the game, and I think because she's done it in the WSL, she's done it obviously more so in the NWSL, so she has respect from all over the world, and I think it'll be a huge loss for them. But when you say about, players leaving the game in a better place, the way Welsh football was when she first started to what it is now, a big part of that is down to her, and I'm sure she'll have some sort of role in the future as well to keep pushing it on. But yeah, I mean, what a player and what a person to have for them.
Yeah, she's played all over the world, Australia, US, here. Did you ever play against her when she was at that loan spell at Reading?
Yeah, I've played against her maybe like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, what was she like to play against?
Very mouthy. Didn't mind saying something, but I like that. I like a bit of edginess. Little bit of dirtiness, but a really good quality player. You can't give her time on the ball. And, but yeah, just someone that you always thought she's going to be a danger, so you had to be aware of.
A little bit of edge. We love a bit of edge. We love a player with a bit of edge. Kayleigh Barton, the other Wales player as well, who retired. Jessy, I feel like it's also interesting, given what we've just said about England and, maybe a lack of desire and motivation for these games. And then you put in a team like Wales who always play like they've got a point to prove, even if they've got players playing who literally aren't even playing for pro clubs. They will always be playing with a desire and an energy and trying to compete with teams way above them in the world rankings, with Champions League winners on the pitch. And I know that's easier to say when you are the underdog to find that, but it is really always exciting, I think, to watch Wales, because even though they might not have the most technically gifted players, you always know you're going to get a performance with heart in it, and that counts for a lot, I think.
Yeah, and it feels like under Rhiannon Wilkinson, she's obviously done a very good job, I think, of really being also a figurehead for those players to rally around. And, she puts together a well-organised team, which I think helps because they have the basis then to go for games. I think it is natural that if you even kind of see it with Brazil, who are Brazil, but the way they obviously wanted it more against England is because teams like going and getting in games they feel like the underdogs, getting one over.
What was
they
famous?
Get up for it more.
What was it when England lost to Belgium when Karen Carney was not happy on
Carney
ITV about Belgium's celebrations?
Yeah. But that, of course, course that matters to teams. They are going to see England as even beyond. You've already got the weight in inverted commas of Englishness, which everyone fucking hates already, and then add to the fact that the women's team are actually quite good at this point. So, I think that's natural. I mean, so obviously, and, similarly with Wales, I think if you feel like the underdog, you always want to push more. And, in that game against Australia as well, they're doing it for Jess. You want to give your best in that game because you're doing it for, a legend of your country. Do you think if we'd had Millie Bright back for one more game, we'd have really gone for it?
Obviously.
Huge moment. Oh God, I don't even
Bring
know
them
what
all
to
back.
say.
Bring them
after
all
that.
back.
Yeah,
Right,
one more.
Frank Kirby.
One more
Ellen
rodeo.
was there. She could
Come
have
on,
go off the
guys. We need one more go
Get
at
Kaz
it.
off Strictly and she can have one last hurrah.
Yeah, amazing. And I think Anne Harrod James was saying afterwards that it's going to be very much like when the Welsh men's team lost Gareth Bale, who was such a figurehead for that team, and it's hard to find those characters again. And we know, federations like Wales don't have the budget, the development, the pathway of a team like England. It's completely different. But they do a lot with what they do have, and obviously coaches like Ryan Wilkinson are always pushing for more as well, which makes a massive difference. One thing we should also highlight is this weekend it was the first ever televised games of the Adobe Women's FA Cup first round, and it was real old school television.
It was rocking. I didn't end up watching any of it because I was getting to Manchester, but what rocked my world was watching the Forest Europa League game on Thursday night, and it's popping up during the game being like, watch Middlesbrough versus Cheadle Town Saturday, 12:30.
Yeah, you got to do
But
the
I was like,
ads.
I love that.
Yeah,
this
it was
is
great.
ridiculous.
That's what you get with big ticket TNT stuff, is you get
They
the Champions
get
League
popping up,
ads,
yeah.
which is exciting. I did watch some of this, and there was great, dogs in the crowd content, which I think is what the FA Cup's all about, really. And some great goals from Borough. They won 4-0 in that game on Saturday, which was the first televised game. And Borough haven't conceded in 1,000 minutes at home, which is pretty impressive. I like what I saw with that team.
Yeah, you're backing them to go all the way?
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. But I am going to be doing the draw again tonight on YouTube. So I will.
Good plug.
Get him a
I
home
had
draw.
quite a few angry messages because I didn't do the draw.
Angry messages about an FA Cup draw.
I know. Shock. Because I wasn't actually drawing the names out of the hat myself. That was Molly and Rosie Committer. But lovely South London women's team, we drew them against 4th tier Fulham, and I think they're in the 7th tier. So they weren't impressed about that. I think they did lose 4-0 yesterday. But
That's quite respectable.
It looks like
What's
good
wrong with
vibes as well.
yeah,
that game.
and they had a great turnout. It was a big day,
Yeah.
like big, FA Cup moment for them. But I think they're a bit like, come on,
I'd
help a girl out.
I'd prefer to play.
Yeah, what would you
I'd
prefer?
rather, when I was
Big
at
challenge?
Colchester United, we drew Arsenal. And that was when Arsenal were like the big team, Faye White,
Yeah.
Katie Chapman.
What was the score?
7-0. It was quite
That's
respectable.
Yeah,
like,
what
we were
tier-
like
What tier were you in at the time? Like 4th or something?
4 or 5?
Yeah.
I don't know. And we
Oh,
were all
yeah.
like 16, 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, it was, for us, like, I'd never played against these sorts of players. And actually, for me, that was when I thought, you know what, I can, I'm bossing this. I just felt I could hold my own. Like, I had an all right game, and I thought I could play higher. So actually, for players, it gives them a chance of like, you know what, I think I could play higher.
Everyone wants their big kind of moment
and
in the
having a
sun,
bit,
right?
yeah. Like,
I guess what's hard is Fulham are kind of fun because they're a Prem team, but like that it's not like you're playing actual.
yeah. But are they professional, like semi-pro?
They might be semi-pro. I'm not sure.
Because someone I played with last season's gone Fulham.
Yeah, I think they might be semi-pro, but they're not fully professional.
But they had a fun moment
Interesting.
last year. They had London City Lionesses in the cup last year, didn't they? And
Yeah.
they held their own against them for quite a while.
Yeah. There were a few scalps along the way, but it's going to be interesting. So hopefully no one gets angry tonight if we draw them teams too high. I think you got to try and get that big. You want to get a good team, and you want them to move the game into the main club stadium. Like I think Dulwich Hamlet, they played their game at Swindon's main men's ground. So that's what you want. You want one of those men's clubs that will put you in the big arena, so you get the nice change room.
Well, it probably
etc.
depends where you go for the nice changing room.
Some of those EFL change rooms, not so much. But more Women's FA Cup games on TV. It's what we want to see. And it was so windy as well. It was one of those, because it was so cold this weekend. I love when you get proper old school, like the gantry's about to blow down kind of territory, and everyone's hair is just going like this. But I think that's where we'll leave it for this episode. Kate, Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
What are you up to this week?
Um,
The life of a retired footballer is so busy.
Well, it could be busy. I don't know.
Something
yet.
might come up.
Yeah.
You never know. JPH, what are you up to?
I'm going to Valencia.
Oh, yeah, you've got a trip this week.
For the Formula E testing.
Oh.
They're doing an all-women's test on the Friday as part of all of their testing.
You're in a
For
motor
the new
racing
season.
era.
I'm a motor racing era, yeah.
So that'll be nice.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, hopefully the weather will be good.
Nice little trip.
Sunny break.
There's Halloween, innit? Have you got a costume? You got a party?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh.
Can't be asked.
Yeah,
Too old.
I'm too old for
You're not doing
Halloween.
anything for Halloween.
I don't really
dressed
like
as, little
Halloween.
Pussycat or I could just imagine you with, I don't know, whiskers and a
What are you
little
going
painted
as?
nose.
I'm going as Cousin It.
Wait, what's Cousin It?
You know...
Is that
in
Dr. Zeus? No.
No, the Addams Family.
Oh.
The one who's got all the hair.
Oh, the really long...
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he goes around
Oh,
going...
wow.
Yeah.
Is that part of a big group Addams Family costume or just on its
Just
own?
on
No.
Oh.
My brother does a Halloween party every year.
Yeah,
and there's
famously.
always a big theme. This year the theme's hair.
Oh, okay.
great.
So, yeah.
Great costume
Yeah.
for the theme.
My wag's going as Erling Haaland, which I thought was a fun pick as
Oh,
well
wow,
for hair.
yeah.
Just because he has long hair.
His hair's just quite iconic, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't mind it. So Man City kitted out? or-
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
Did she...
I hope I've not spoiled her costume. I hope she wasn't keeping a secret.
Did she buy a City shirt just for the occasion then?
Well, she's not got it yet, but I think she will be buying one. Yeah, she don't have one right now. But
It's a
I
big
said I've got a
commitment.
Dortment Haaland kit, and she's got a Norway kit.
Oh,
So
yeah,
there are some
do-
options.
Yeah.
Don't
spend
get
No, but
money on that.
City is like it is kind of like his iconic look. But I said she should go as you. Did you see him in the international break with his flat cap?
Oh, yeah.
I said
yeah.
she should go like that.
No,
But
what
then
was he
everyone will be
wearing?
like, who's this? Who are you supposed to be?
I didn't see it. What was he wearing?
He's wearing like a flat cap and these like
Almost
funny
like out of
glasses.
Peaky Blinders
yeah, and his like full
things.
like waistcoat suit thing. He looks
He's
great.
a strange character.
That's why I think it's a
see.
good costume,
Yeah,
isn't it?
true. Oh, I mean, there's Addams Family hair spin-offs that you could do a wag.
No,
team-up
don't.
costume.
We spent so long trying to figure out what she's wearing. Don't try and
Okay,
change her
sorry.
mind
No,
now.
no, we're not
And
doing the
locked in
brainstorm.
on Haaland.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm not really into Halloween. I used to be, but I just prefer to be at home in the warm now.
Wow.
Answering the door to people.
Yeah, I don't really leave the house much.
Trick-or-treaters.
Anyway, on that note, we will be back next week talking the return of the WSL as the international break will be over. Back with the Women's Super League. We will see you then.